the U.S. Army. It's a win for the Native Americans, but the sad thing is they're going to lose a lot of the following battles. And what it really does is it makes the U.S. Army very, very upset. And it makes them really want to retaliate because they have this thing of, they have this mission, they have this goal, and they want to move these Native Americans to a certain situation. And they definitely want the land for their use. Which Native Americans do not, that's not their belief. They do not believe that the land belongs to a single individual, to a company, or to anything like that. They believe that the land is universal, right? You live off the land, you live off the animals, you are one with nature, that type thing. Ownership is not a Native American thing, which is why the two clash from the very beginning, going all the way back to the colonists, kind of talking about that book that I referenced, that I read, Tribe. So what's going to happen is, after this big battle, the U.S. Army is going to get very upset and they're going to retaliate. They are going to win a lot of battles, and they're eventually going to force this powerful individual, Sitting Bull, to flee. And he flees all the way to Canada, and he kind of goes MIA for a while. And when he goes MIA, the U.S. Army is going to continue to move these people kind of where they want and what's best for the U.S. Army and for the federal government. So they're moving them to reservations and stuff like that. And them missing Sitting Bull is a big, big, big part of, Native American resistance. And so this idea of Native American resistance kind of goes on hold for a second. And I want to highlight some stuff here. So I talked about the Dawes Act. I talked about the assimilation schools. I talked about the pushing of them continuously on the reservations, but I want to highlight two things real quick. The first thing I want to highlight is the Dawes Act. So the Dawes Act is important because it is going to take up these Native American lands, right? The lands that they were forced on, and it's going to divide them into individuals. And some of you may say, well, that's not that bad. They're each getting their own little... No, it is bad, because what the government is doing is they're taxing them, right? So these individual allotments they've been given, they're now being taxed on them, right? So now the federal government is making more revenue off of them. And again, this is not a Native American practice, right? So then I want to key to this term assimilation. So I talked to you all about the difference between assimilation and the difference between acculturation. So I want to hit on acculturation first. So a lot of you, I always go around and I say, how many of your parents are not from the United States? And you all raise your hand, and I talk to somebody, and I say, okay, do you speak a different language at home? Do you practice different customs at home? Do you practice different culture, or maybe holiday celebrations, stuff like that? And a lot of you say, yes, this is what we do, yada, yada, yada. Acculturation is just that, right? If your parents are not from the United States and they come over, let's say your parents are from France, okay, and they come over to Georgia, right? They're living in Powder Springs. What a move. Paris to Powder Springs. And they practice, French holidays, French culture, French customs. They speak French, and you yourself do all of that inside your home. And then you come to Hillgrove High School and you speak English, you eat American food, you understand culture, customs, you understand all the new stuff that is, I guess, a part of American culture. You are practicing acculturation. Assimilation is the exact opposite. Assimilation would be you're moving from France to the United States, and you give up 100% everything from France, right? So you no longer have any French customs, cultures, beliefs with you. You don't speak the language, nothing. You come over to America, you're speaking English, you're eating hot dogs, you're celebrating the 4th of July. You're not doing anything that is French native. You don't even think about it anymore. You are completely immersed in American culture. That's assimilation. Now, mindset check. Why would the federal government be wanting Native Americans to do this? And I said assimilation schools, right? So when I said this in class, you all were kind of like, what? Like, how is that possible? Why are they trying to do this? And what assimilation schools are is they're taking these Native Americans, probably the youth, most likely the youth, and they are putting them into schools that is teaching them how to be a white American. And you're thinking, why would they do that? And the reason is they want Native Americans to quit acting like Native Americans. They're trying to strip them of their cultures, customs, beliefs. And they want you to get in the mindset that you are a white American. Why? So that they can use you and they can access, I guess, your ability for farming and stuff like that and taxes. And it's a complete culture shift from where they're coming from. So those couple of things are all dealing with Native Americans in the West and trying to make sure that they are, I guess, acting in a way that pleases or adheres to the federal government or white culture. So I talked about Dawes Act, and then really what happens is when Sitting Bull is removed and he is fleed, he's gone, he's in Canada, there's something, and this is like one of the last two things, I promise I'm finishing up. You guys always say I get on a rant, so I'm focused. The Ghost Dance movement, right? You can't talk about Native American resistance in the West without the Ghost Dance movement. And I always like this story of the Ghost Dance movement because, I don't know, it kind of makes you all kind of chuckle a little bit, but it's true. So the Ghost Dance movement's going to do a couple of things. The first thing that it's going to do is it's going to be a movement in which they're hoping that it's going to stop the white man's advancement to the West, right? This is what they want. They do not want the white man to continue to advance west. Why? Simply because they're not doing great things for them, and historically they, shocker, haven't. So they want it to stop, right? They want to continue what they are doing and not be pressed into a certain situation that fits, I guess, the government or these white settlers that are going out west. Second thing they're going to want is they're going to hope that this movement restores the buffalo population. Anytime you think about Native Americans, anytime you hear the word Native Americans, oftentimes you all think about two things. You're thinking about deer or you think about the buffalo. When dealing with Native Americans in the West, the buffalo is like the ding, ding, ding. That's like when you're on the test and it's got a picture of the buffalo Native Americans and it's talking about the tribal aspects and assimilation, and you all immediately know, just based off the fact there's a buffalo, you're connecting Native Americans to that. It's a very, very sacred animal that they have. Remember, I said they use the buffalo for everything. They follow the buffalo for food. They follow the buffalo for, seasonal things. And they use every part of the buffalo. The buffalo, they are one with the buffalo. It is a very, very sacred animal. So they're hoping that the second part of this, one, stop white man's advancement. Two, restore the buffalo population. And then the third thing, which you all like the most, is they're wearing these shirts and they're bulletproof. I wouldn't say vests, but they think that the shirts that they're wearing are bulletproof. And you all are kind of like, why would they do that? And why does that really matter? And you got to, once again, mindset check. Put your mindset in something like this. So I always relate this to football or to any sport. If you're playing basketball, let's do basketball. If you're playing a basketball game, right, and you believed that you put on a certain shirt, or this is going to be a movie flashback, like Mike with Calvin Cambridge, classic. When he put on those Nikes and those Jordans, he knew he was about to get a bucket. And so imagine if you were playing basketball and you put on a shirt like let's say, you have your jersey, you put it on, probably Kobe jersey, put on a Kobe jersey, and I'm not missing with this jersey on, right? And you step on that court to play a game. Because you got the jersey on, you're not going to miss. So you're going to play with this confidence that you may have never had. Another movie reference you all may know. Hopefully you do. Please, if you don't, you have some free time, please go watch it. I'm begging you. Space Jam. Okay, I'm hoping you all know what that is. Right? They're at halftime. They got Michael Jordan's little secret sauce, right? And Daffy Duck takes it and he squirts it and he's drinking it and it's just regular water. And Michael Jordan doesn't want to tell him this. But then Daffy Duck's doing his little thing. He's flexing the pipes. He's all big and muscled up. The rabbit takes it and all that stuff, Bugs, and they think that they're invincible. So they go out to play the Monstars and they play like they're invincible, but in reality it's just water. So these bulletproof shirts are going to give them that edge and that mentality of, when we go to war, I'm fighting with a different little something about me than anything else. And so these shirts are very, very important. Stop. Sorry, the dog. He's off the chain. But anyways, so they're wearing these bulletproof vests. And then the last couple of things. So Sitting Bull is going to come back. You all know he's going to be murdered by the Lakota policemen. They say a scuffle breaks out, but We know how that goes. So with this, Native Americans are going to continue to be put back on reservations. And then the last thing I'm going to talk to you about is the massacre at Wounded Knee. Sorry, this is what in-home learning looks like. The massacre at Wounded Knee. So the U.S. Army are going to be taking weapons from the Native Americans, and they're going to be kind of round them up and trying to put them into reservations again. Remember, this is a story I told you, and we watched a little Ken Burns documentary on this too. As they're trying to take up their guns, they're trying to take this weapon from this man. He's confused, right? You can kind of put yourself in his shoes. It's chaos. There's a lot of stuff going on around him. People are running around in a panic, probably like if you're standing in the middle of Walmart and somebody has 98 things of toilet paper and the other dude's got 38 gallons of milk and the baby's crying, everything's chaos. It's kind of like that, except 1,000 times worse, because all your friends are getting rounded up and they're taking his gun away from him, and he doesn't really know what's going on. And again, he's deaf. He can't hear anything. And so what happens is the gun goes off, right? Boom. Well, when the gun goes off, everybody else who's part of the U.S. Army hears this, and they're shouting. They start firing, right? And this is a very, very dark moment in history. A lot of times when people are describing this, they say, 300 men and women are killed. But in reality, 300 men and women and children who are unarmed, they're not killed, they're murdered. And there's no way to sugarcoat it, because I think if you sugarcoat it, then you're not saying for what really happened. They're murdered. And what's going to happen is, and you all saw the pictures, and they're on the PowerPoint. If you want to go to my blog, Domain 3, Transcontinental Railroad, they're on there if you want to look at them. But what's going to really happen with this is, and this is like the key test. So you have Wounded Knee. This is like level 1. Remember I talk about when you're taking a test and you have levels to everything, right? It's not just Wounded Knee and then you can just highlight 300 men, women, and children are killed, right? There's always the tests are harder than what you would imagine. So you get Wounded Knee, maybe you get a quote or something, and you see it's from an individual, and then it says from the the massacre at Wounded Knee. It's not a battle, it's a massacre. And what this is going to do, and I have it highlighted on my page that I'm going to put on my blog, is this effectively ends the Native American resistance in the West, right? So after this happens, it stops, right? 300 men, women, and children are murdered. And once this kind of word gets out, the Native American resistance, as we know it in the West, is over. And this is a big part of the United States history. And that's where we're going to stop for today. I'm hoping you all are locked in, you're doing your routines, and you have your daily routine, and you liked the last video. And if you liked the last video and you want to see more stuff like that, please shoot me an email, shoot me a remind, comment on it. What do you all want to hear about? I'm getting prepared for my special guest on Friday. I'm actually about to meet with him today. Pretty pumped. He's a good dude, and we're gonna have a great message for you all on Friday. So if you have anything that you want to hear or you want to see, or maybe stuff that you liked from this, did you not like this? Did you, was there a better way I could be doing this? When I do lecture new material, I'll probably put the PowerPoint up here or something like that. But again, if you have a friend that's in U.S. history and they need extra help, or they just want to tune in, maybe some parents, I know a lot of people are tuning in that just want to learn history, which I think is awesome. Tune in, subscribe, like, comment, do all that good stuff. You know what it is. So I guess I'll see you all tomorrow, and stay safe.
Thanks for watching History with House.
Don't forget to
like,
comment,
and subscribe.